to the City of Daly City Virtual Planning Commission of the date December 7. The current Virtual Planning Commission meeting has been undertaken by the City of Daly City is in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. The Planning Commission thanks the public for its participation in the virtual meeting format. It is our intention that the Commission receive any and all comments that you may wish to make for the land use proposal being considered tonight. If you would like to comment, please visit the website address that is on the screen and raise your hand during the public hearing portion of the item for which you wish to speak. Thank you. Okay, pledge to the flag.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Belva. We have actually two items for tonight. But the first item is about use permit UPR-21-015-101. Daly proposes a 32-post Tesla supercharger on the vacant property located at the northwest corner of Bryan and Washington Streets, 1590 Bryan Street. The project is categorically exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act, or CEQA, pursuant to CEQA Guidelines Section 15332, Infill Development Projects, APN 006-345-070. This will be conducted by the Planning Manager, Michael Van Longhoxen. Take it away, Mr. Van Longhoxen. Thank you.
Sorry, can everybody see the presentation on the screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. Yes, so this is a use permit for a 32-post Tesla supercharger at the northwest corner of Bryant Street and Washington Street. I think we probably all pass by this site on a fairly regular basis. It's vacant, situated near City Hall. And here's the site location in northwest corner of Bryant, Washington. Here's a Google Street View image of the property. Planning Commission may recall that a mixed-use apartment building was approved on this property quite some time ago, I believe in 2015. It's received several time extensions over the years. It's actually still an approved project right now, but the property owner, Dan TLDs, indicated that the market for the product that he had approved isn't buildable at this time. So Tesla approached him with this idea of building the supercharger, and they are in a lease arrangement for that. Here are some photos of adjacent uses. There are residential uses to the south. To the north is a veterinary office building. To the west is a church. And there's residential uses to the east too. There's no photo of that, but residential uses also to the east across Bryant Street. The proposed project is a 32-post electrical vehicle supercharger facility and intended for, at the present time, the use by Tesla electric vehicles only. That could change at some point in the future, but the current intent is Tesla only charging. So it's essentially, so for those of you who aren't familiar with what electrical vehicle charging supercharger is, it's basically a parking lot with 32 parking spaces. 2 of the spaces would meet accessibility requirements. There are charging posts, so essentially an electrical box with a plug for the car. at all of these parking spaces. There are electrical cabinets, a transformer, there's parking lot lighting, and then there's of course landscaping that's proposed as part of the project. So the facility would occupy the entire 0.35 acre property, and vehicular access to the site would be provided at Bryant Street. We'll take a look at a site plan in a second. There are no structures that are associated with the proposal. The facility would operate 24 hours a day, 365 days per year. So it's in continual operation. And here's not a site photo, but a site plan. Excuse me for that typo. This is Bryant Street. You might see the cursor. And here, the way that the city has conditioned the project is that vehicles would enter the site at one of the two, probably the most northerly accesses, and then exit at the southerly. So it's a one-way traffic flow is what's intended here. And the design could change, between here and construction, but essentially this is it. Diagonal parking spaces. The site plan shows the charging stations here. There's a bank of transformers that would be placed at the western edge of the site. There's stormwater retention facilities also that are necessary as per the city's permit to discharge into the Pacific Ocean and San Francisco Bay. And so this is essentially the site plan. It's essentially a parking lot with charging stations, of course. The applicants provided the city some photo sims of what this would look like, and this is what it would look like. These are the charging stations. They sit vertically, approximately 5 feet tall, and they're situated in this manner. This is a view looking northwest from the intersection that is Washington and Bryant Street. Again, there's an abundance of landscaping that would surround the site, including the installation of some deciduous trees. And here's a perspective looking north at the proposed supercharger. Again, these are the charging stations. Again, looking vertically. So use permit considerations. Of course, as the Planning Commission is aware, the use permit allows the city to take a look at specific uses and determine whether the uses are feasible in the neighborhood in terms of land use compatibility. That's primarily what we're looking at here. We've identified a few issues and outlined them in the staff report. One is the traffic. There's adjacent uses, light and glare impacts, and the third is the regional housing need allocation. So starting with traffic, the City Public Works Department required that a traffic study be prepared for the project to evaluate the potential of vehicle queuing and impacts to the adjacent street system. It was determined in that study that because of the Tesla technology that's installed in all Tesla vehicles, that it was essentially not possible for vehicles to queue in the street. It's not likely anyway, because the software in the vehicle directs the motorist who is passing by, say on Interstate 280, to go to the next available facility. So the idea is that they're not actually waiting. It's all sort of planned out in advance, where they need to stop. And that's a feature of the software and should therefore not cause a traffic impact in the street. The city's staff identified the potential for light and glare impacts. We're kind of concerned about that. We've required some, just as we usually do, shielding of lights to make sure that the adjacent residential uses are not impacted by the facility. One thing of note with regard to the on-site lighting in this project, which is kind of neat, is that the parking lot lights aren't always on. They are triggered by, they're motion censored. So much like, when you enter a bathroom or a bedroom and a modern construction, light goes on and off as the person enters and exits the room. Same is true of a vehicle with these lights. So they're not on, the parking lot lights are not on constantly. They only go on as necessary. So we do see that as a positive thing in terms of saving energy, of course, but also just the reduction of the impact of the facility in the late night hours when maybe usage is very low. we should see those lights coming down. We identified a third area that was discussed in the staff report of consideration for the Planning Commission. That's the regional housing need allocation. The city had previously approved an apartment complex here. It consisted of 27 apartments that were mixed use, and we did have that in our housing site list. The city is actually in the process of developing a new housing element, and you should all actually be aware of that. There's a new housing element that needs to be completed in the next year and adopted. And this site will come off that list, of course, if the Tesla facility is constructed, which we fully expect it would be if it's approved. So obviously a housing site can't exist. The reason why we are allowing the facility on a housing site, however, is that the city's constructed projects that are not on the RENA list at other locations, specifically the developments as part of the Jefferson Elementary School District and the Jefferson Union High School District. Those projects were never on the RENA, so the city feels that it's appropriate to allow this facility in lieu of the housing that was approved. Furthermore, the RENA does consider that the city only needs to make available sites that are capable of constructing housing. This site was added because the applicant had received permission to construct, or I think at the time had just expressed interest in constructing housing. So there's really not any sort of a mandated sort of a law. The land just needs to be rezoned, which the city did do in this case to allow for the housing. And so it met the RENA, but the actual construction of the units is something that is, it's a market sort of based approach. And so we did add a finding, however, that the city has approved other housing construction development or other housing construction to account for the RENA number. So we did want to touch on that a bit. We included that in the staff report. And with that, project is exempt from CEQA. And we are recommending that the Planning Commission forward to the City Council a recommendation of approval for this project. The city staff and Tesla have worked closely together on the design of the facility, the conditions of approval. We've discussed some of those. We'll probably make some modifications with regard to pedestrian scale street lighting after the Planning Commission meeting. In between the Planning Commission and City Council, we've agreed to make some adjustments to that, but just to let you know that. Aside from that, though, we are recommending approval of the project. If there's any questions, of course, Tesla representatives are here, as well as the city staff.
Through the chair, may I ask some questions?
Sure, go ahead.
Very good. A couple questions. In case I missed something, this is like a gas station, technically. So like a supercharger, I think I saw something on the news where, I'm trying to remember where it was, but people say that they're able to charge their cars at an expedited speed instead of, let's say, at home. So would that mean that this is like a gas station where someone would drive up when they're low on electricity, and then they would charge their vehicles, and they would be, that is a charge, do they pay like you would at a gas station? If it is like a supercharged station, what would be the extent of time a vehicle would be parked there getting charged? So if it was very, very low and it needed to charge the entire battery, what's the time, instead of, let's say someone drives through and says, well, I need to halfway soup up my car and get the battery charged. So that's my question. A, is it like a gas station where you pay for this service? And B, how long would a vehicle stay on the property, or up to what amount of time?
I think we'll go ahead and let the Tesla people answer that. That's okay.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Yes.
Ms. Sanchez.
Thank you for the question, Commissioner. Just as a way of introduction, my name is Tessa Sanchez. I'm on the policy team here at Tesla. I think there are around 3 parts to your question. So first question, is the supercharger station, will it function like a gas station? And I would say yes, similarly. So like you would go and fill up your gas vehicle at a gas station that is similar to how our customers use our supercharger stations. They might be going to top off if they are low on charge. They might be just filling up if they're kind of halfway through. That could be if they are coming home from work or kind of traveling through Daly City, or it could be the case that they might not have access to home charging themselves, and so therefore rely on these fast charging solutions to reliably charge their vehicles. So first question, and then your other question was around cost. So really the goal of the supercharger network is really to enable freedom of travel at a fraction of the cost of gasoline. The total cost to charge really depends on the type of vehicle, how long they charge, and the battery size. A typical charge session within California is roughly $12. And the cost is around 35 cents on average a kilowatt hour. At peak, the cost is around 48 cents a kilowatt hour, and non-peak 24 cents a kilowatt hour. And customers are notified of that peak pricing in the UI within the car. And then your last question was around time. So again, it's a bit of a range, like I mentioned before, the type of vehicle, but I would say on average, it's going to be around 15 to 45 minutes.
Okay.
And that would be, pardon me, sorry. Go ahead, Ray.
Well, I have just reviewed the Harvard Business Review and the Center for Automotive Review, and I think the question of Teresa is well taken, but we really need this kind of charging because we are contributing for clean air and climate change.
Oh, no,
sorry. I have a lot of thinking about this, so it's more of positive side because in America now we only have about, just to complement Ms. Tesla here, we only have 20,000 charging station in America, whereas in China they have about 50,000, and in Korea, but they have about they have about 500,000 superchargers. In Korea, South Korea, they have about 50,000. In the USA, it's only about 20,000. So we need more of this really for the climate change contribution and the clean air, especially the Bay Area. We have the highest gasoline rate here in entire America. That's why, to me, I encourage this kind of charging. Thank you very much.
Yeah, through the chair. No, through the chair. The reason I was questioning it is more for the public. I mean, I think that this is the way we go. And, if you're going to have a vehicle that is charged and someone's trying to get from point A to point B, and you need to get gas, and in this regard, you need to get electric boost or charge, then of course we need it. I was just curious on those points. Another point was Michael commented on lighting. And so I would be concerned only for any housing if these were very high. And so when they pop on at night, does it, get into anybody's window space? That's the only thing I can think of, because I do have, I have lights near my house, big, large lights here, Daly City lighting. And if I don't put the shades down or whatever, I mean, I'll get that light coming through my bedroom. So I'm just curious on that. And with my questions, it's not that I'm against the project. I believe we need.
No. I just
we need it. Yeah.
And my question, if in case you have any question, Belba or Gary, before I ask more question, do you have any question?
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Belba.
Oh, okay. Just a quick question to Michael. You had mentioned that it was rezoned for the housing project. Now that it's going to be a charging station, is it being rezoned again?
No, Commissioner, the zoning that it was rezoned from CRO, I believe, to CRR or CRR to CRO rather, and the zoning allows the use with the use permit. There's no need to rezone the project, the site to accommodate these.
Right. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. My question to Ms. Sanchez is for general welfare and public safety. You know very well that the battery can explode, right? You agree with me?
That a battery can explode in
Yes.
general, you're talking about lithium ion batteries and their ability
Yes,
to
that's right.
explode. I guess I would agree that there is a potential, like in the same way a gas tank could also explode, that yes, a lithium ion battery can explode.
Okay. And another question is, you said that it will be a 24 hours basis, right? That is your proposal. This is my leading question. It will be a 24 hours basis.
Open 24 hours a day.
My point is, this is there's no traffic there. The issue of traffic is not an issue. But the point is that the general welfare could be, we can close it between 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock, because that is, I would say, residential housing. Okay, can we do that, Michael? 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock?
Well, the city might possess the legal requirement to do that. It does run very counter to the concept of the supercharger network. I'm sure Tesla would have something to say about that. But to answer your question as a technical matter, I suppose it's
because the question,
restrict hours.
The contention of Teresa a while ago, it will be glaring. It will be very bright at that area. So if we can just probably have that kind of hiatus for 2 hours or 3 hours of the night.
May I say
go
just
ahead.
a thought?
Go ahead, Teresa.
Yes. On that line, I would guess, Michael, that you guys have already looked at the height of the lampposts and how much light goes and how far it goes. Is that correct? And where the residential housing is?
Yeah, that is correct.
Okay. And then the other thing is, the only thing is if someone's driving and they need electricity, it's one thing you can go to a 24-hour gas station, but if someone's looking for electricity, Ray, the only thing I would be concerned about is, if there's so few and in between, and I would ask you, how close is the closest to us from that point? If it's very far away, I'm sure they picked this location because they wanted to give people an opportunity. I don't have a Tesla, but people, it can only go so far without a charge. Is that correct?
That's true, right?
Yeah.
The range on a car, like the typical, and the newer ones are like 320 miles.
Mm-hmm.
The nearest, the other Tesla supercharger, I believe, is on the roof of Ceremony Shopping Center parking garage.
Oh, okay.
Not mistaken. And yes, the city staff has worked with the applicant looking at the illumination of the ground. The heights of the poles have been reduced, and the number of poles has been set at an appropriate number given those heights to make sure that the site lighting is such that it doesn't spell out the site. The Planning Commission would be imposing a condition of approval also that requires that at least lights that are pre-shielded or can accept shields should lighting become an issue to the adjacent neighborhood are also proposed. So, and as I mentioned previously, the parking lot lights actually turn off when they're not being used. So as an energy conservation measure, but also as a measure of respect to the adjacent neighborhood, nobody really wants to spend electricity. In this case, it's a bit ironic. It's, we're trying to, conserve electricity. Lighting a parking lot that nobody's using. So the lights do go off.
Another question, would this location also have a bathroom like other gas stations? Would it have a bathroom or a snack shop or primarily charging. And I do appreciate Ray, Chair and Ray.
Yes, go ahead.
I do appreciate you backing the thought of the concern of the public, because we don't want to come back and have to bother Tesla to do repairs. The only other thing was if the lighting would be solar. There's a number of solar options out there. If it would be solar, and then the concern on electricity would not be there. That's just a thought.
Actually, Tesla is now on the solar also. Did you know that? They're doing solar now. So practically they'll be using solar in the short run. And also, just to complement also the Ms. Sanchez here, there are two ways of getting the car to be supercharged. One is at home, but we have to spend a little more because 240 wattage is needed per kilowatt. What we have here is only about, in the house, it's only 220, right, voltage. Whereas if you want a adapter to be used for the car, you have to spend a little more, and you have to buy or get a professional electrician to install it. 240 wattage. Thank you. Just for the information of Ms. Tesla here. Okay, any more question before? Because what we're doing here is it's an fundamental interpolation and query at the same time. We are doing this for us to situate in aid of our legislation here based on the subject matter. Thank you very much.
Yeah, my question, I'm sorry, pardon me, through the chair is, was the bathroom and a snack thingy, or is it
Can
just
you answer
primarily?
that, Ms. Sanchez?
Right.
Bathroom.
There are no bathroom facilities for, oh, go ahead, Tessa. Did you want to answer that? I'm sorry.
Look, you've got it, Michael.
Okay. There are no bathroom facilities proposed. I think the idea with probably the majority of superchargers is that they're located next to other retail or fast food type uses, where in this case that would be there's the In-N-Out complex with the Krispy Kreme donuts. There's a Dos Charros Mexican food nearby. The concept is that people can, and these facilities are often situated and sited in locations where meals are easily accessible and can be walked to from the charging facility. And then, the bathroom can be used then too. So they typically are not constructed with bathrooms. As a matter of fact, none of inside Daly City, we have one other Tesla supercharger. This would be the second. We have a number of non-Tesla charging sites. There are not as many posts, but none of them have provided their own bathroom facility.
Okay.
Any more question before we open this to the public? Well, another question is, my question a while ago is, in case there is an explosion of battery, will there anybody there who will be at least more an attendant to see to it that they're being helped?
Thank you for the question, Commissioner. While we won't have any attendance on site, we do provide the fire response service with emergency training guides on how to deal with a fire in case of an explosion. I will say, and really like the best deterrent is just going to be water. So it is something that the fire department can handle. In terms of safety though, I did want to mention the safety of our vehicles. Our vehicles have been recognized by multiple regulatory and rating agencies for their performance, as well as safety. For example, our Model 3 has been awarded its perfect 5-star safety rating in every subcategory and by NISTA. So I just wanted to raise that while we of course prepare for the worst, that our vehicles themselves are very safe.
How would you monitor the activities in your site? Do you have a camera there?
In terms of, so thank you for the question. Is your question related to, I guess I would like a clarification on the question. Are you asking about activity of people visiting the site?
Yes, everything, safety, activities, movement. Do you have that kind of monitoring?
I'll actually ask my colleague Jha to help me out with this one.
Something like that. To whom it may concern, is that the way it should be?
I'm going to have my colleague Gia.
Yeah, let the expert answer this.
Yeah, excuse me. Can I clarify the question? What was the question again? How do you secure the safety on site?
Yes. My question is, how do you monitor the activities in your facility? In case of there is emergency, and in case of any trouble, whom do you call, or who would address that?
I see. Yeah, thank you for the question. We do have security measures on site. We have 866 and 800 numbers directly linked to Tesla service on every single equipment and charge post. And anyone can call those numbers and it will go to our different tier of services. And it's not like 800 number, you're going to wait for 30 minutes for someone to pick up, but then, you need to be passed on to another person. There will be a person on the other side, almost like a 911 service, to answer those calls, provide the services to our site and to our customers. If anyone see anything happen on our site, they should be able to call those numbers. And those numbers are very labeled very clearly on our equipment as well.
Don't you have excuse me, Miss Lowe, don't you have any Tesla Ranger that goes around in case there's some sort of emergency?
No, there's no Tesla Rangers per se. By taking report and claim from either customer or any other citizens around the site will be the best way for us to take. And also between our agreement with the property owner, they also responsible for maintaining safety around the site as well.
Michael, is this a franchise or not, or just a franchise of Tesla, or they are directly under Tesla? I don't understand this.
This property is going to be under operation of Tesla, exclusively to the charging area.
Because I understand, based on my Center for Automotive, you have a ranger that goes around in case there's some sort of emergency, especially in the East Coast now. I don't know if
I don't think any charging stations in the US, especially in California, I probably personally built over a dozen of, majority of the supercharging site for Tesla in California, including our peer companies. Looking at the entire charging market, I don't think anyone is providing Ranger service. The whole purpose of having the lighting at night when customers are charging, one reason is to provide security. When people see there's lights, especially drivers sitting in the car, they feel safe to be on site. We don't want to be dark. But in the meantime, like Michael mentioned earlier, when the car moved away and the station is not being used, that light will be turned off automatically, and that's compliant with the California Title 24 as well.
Okay. Are there any other questions that you would like to ask, my colleague? I have so many issues, but I am for this. But you haven't really satisfied my question, especially when it comes to why can you not put up a camera there just to monitor the activities there? So simple, like that. It's like any gasoline station. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I understand. I think the gas station doesn't really have security guard or rangers there. They probably have a 24-hour C-store next to the gas station. But as you notice at any gas stations, that all the cashier or someone working at the C-store is behind a window or something. That person doesn't really provide security for the people pumping, using the pumps outside of the C-store. And, we think, first of all, charging station is not a destination. It's for people to come and go quickly. And our charging technology is by far the fastest charging technology in the market for all the EV chargers. So that the dwelling time is very short, first of all. And two, the best we can do is to take whatever got reported to us. If we provide ranger services to all the charging stations, that doesn't really, first of all, comply to the code, and two, also economically is not really efficient for Tesla as well.
My point here, Ms. Daly, is you're going to pay by apps, right? By your telephone. You don't pay cash here. It's by apps or by the telephone, right? Actually, I'm having a hard time logging into your Tesla for payment, and how many minutes do I have to pay? These are the issues. Sometimes even me, sometimes I'm having a hard time also in paying for my PayPal, something like that. So this is what I'm saying. It is a concern that, especially for the newcomer, new people are using it. They'll be having a hard time, especially the telephone. You don't pay cash here. It's by telephone, right? By PayPal.
No, it's not paid by telephone as well. Actually, all of our service is linked to the Tesla account that's owned by the driver. Tesla, so the moment you plug in
the telephone, you pay by the apps, the telephone, right?
Right, but the driver doesn't need to click or do anything to pay. Everything will go through the cloud, through their Tesla account. The moment they plug in the charger into the car, the meters start running over the cloud service, and their charge will be showing on the monitor inside of the car. And the moment they unplugged it, the charge will stop, and the charging, the billing will stop as well. So there's no contact or touch per se for the driver at all in this whole process.
Well, probably to you it's easy, but for those, especially the newcomer like me, I'll be having a hard time. That's why I was saying a while ago that we can probably ask somebody if we're going to ask people, how do I do it?
Yeah, well, we can show you our charging station. We have a bunch of them around the Bay Area as well. The most close by in Daly City is at Serramonte Center. There's another one in South San Francisco. They're all open to public. Anyone can go to visit. You will notice in our charging station, there's no credit card slot. There's no places you type or anything. Nothing like that. You just need to plug and unplug.
You're talking to the public here, not to me only, but the public. Okay, so at least more or less we have to educate them also. That's the point. Because this is
I appreciate it, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, I appreciate that question. Hopefully I clarified for you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Through the chair.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was listening to Ray, and what I'm getting, and see if this is correct, is his concern, it sounds like too, is for the public. So when I'm sure, I haven't seen one of your charging stations, but I'm sure there's something there that says if you have an emergency or whatever, and the cars are very smart now, so I'm sure they would know, the idea of him saying that if there's cameras, or for instance, I'm a car owner and I plug it in and I walk 3 blocks down to in and out, and by the time I walk back, something happened to the car, And so I understand, and I would hope that the location has some sort of a security camera so that you could potentially look back at the camera and, like many other gas stations, you would be able to access the camera to see what happens to your car, right? Because it could be an hour. So you walk and you come back. And so I understand what our chairman Ray is saying with regards to security.
I see. Understood. Thank you for that follow-up. Actually, every single car of Tesla has 6 cameras integrated into the car. So that 6 cameras will provide 360-degree of view around the vehicle for as many times or as long as you want. So drivers can always go back to check those videos. Those are live footage. That will actually be much more secure than a security camera, because security camera is only one angle, but the car is 360 video recording. So that's very secure.
Okay.
Thank
you for the clarification. And thank you, Ray. Thank you.
Tesla's also developing a technology that alerts 911 to emergencies going on around it, just to address some of the security questions. I don't know that that's been implemented yet, but I've read about that.
Okay, yeah. So are there any more questions before we open this public hearing? Okay, we are now going to open this public hearing. Are there no other people who want to talk? Ms. Tatum?
Yes, hi. Can you hear me? This is Nancy.
Okay, go ahead. You are given 2 minutes to talk.
Okay, I have a few questions. One of them is electromagnetic field. What's the impact to my health since I live close by? What's the impact to home prices? And you may be aware that there's a garbage truck charging station, and I think they use gas. Is that gonna cause more likelihood of explosion? And then what is the impact on the loss of property tax by building a charging station versus a multi-unit apartment?
Okay, anybody wants to answer that? Ms. Tesla or Ms. Liu?
So I will have to say that on the question around the electromagnetic field, we would need to get back to you on that. I don't have that data easily accessible, nor do I know whether or not we have done studies on that. So I am going to have to defer on the question around an electromagnetic field. I think the two other questions were, I got a question around home pricing, which I'm going to probably have to, I would say that's more a question appropriate for the city and not for Tesla, and are also around property taxes. I guess I would say around just in terms of our view, the kind of question around housing, I just want to make the point that this particular charging facility would provide charging access to Daly City Tesla drivers who currently do not have home charging options. It would also give visitors to the area a place to charge their cars. It would provide a key infrastructure element to support EV ownership close to existing housing, and then broaden access to sustainable transportation options. The city, I know, needs to build 1,000+ new multi-unit dwelling units in the next several years. And those individuals will have vehicles, and having accessible EV charging will allow those vehicles to be electric, which will also help the state meet its climate action goals. And I know the city also has a climate action plan that it's working towards.
So yeah, with the city staff's response with regard to the impact on adjacent values, there really aren't any studies in terms that we know of anyway, in terms of the impact of a facility like this on the adjacent home values. It's often purported that housing itself, which is what's proposed or actually currently approved for the site in a mixed use building, has impacts to adjacent home prices. There's been no evidence that there's any impact there. So it's kind of a tough question to answer, really. Just in terms of, you know, the provision of electrical charging, though nearby residential, one could argue that it actually improves the value, but there's no empirical evidence of, you know, increasing or decreasing. With regard to the safety that the facilities provide in terms of both of just fire and EMF, I mean, of course, all of these transformers Tesla is, under federal regulation when it constructs a certain transformer. There's probably not in the regulatory business some review of that. I don't know if it's actually an EMF type study that we would require, say, of a cell facility, but the technology that's used in the transformer is different from that of a cellular tower. So it's not the same sort of thing, to my knowledge. And so no, that's about the best answer we're going to be able to give in a public hearing here. But the transformers are, constructed to be durable and not cause fire, overheat, or anything like that. So it's our best attempt at the answers there.
And also to add that last year to that is that there is no gas in there involved, and there is no electronic magnetic field, because electronic magnetic field is when high tension wire is hanging above the tower or the post. But here it's always underground, so there is no electromagnetic field to this. Just for your information. Thank you very much. Any more, Tatum?
I just had one comment to add in addition to Michael's comment around safety. As a manufacturer, we have to adhere to very strict codes and standards. Our products are tested and certified by nationally recognized testing laboratories. UL is one that you all might be familiar with. Our equipment's UL compliant. So our electrical equipment will really be the same as a lot of other electrical equipment that's kind of around daily life.
Okay. Next, somebody else. Tatum?
I don't have anybody else with their hand up. So I don't see any other people looking to speak.
Okay, so we're going to close the public hearing. Anybody wants to make a move to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
I second.
It's moved and seconded that we close the public hearing. Next, we recommend that the Planning Commission forward to the City Council the following recommendation. Adopt the findings as outlined herein. Any motion?
I'll make a
Second.
motion.
Seconded. Okay. Everybody's, all those in favor say aye.
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 Adopted. Recommend that the City Council affirm the environmental assessment. Motion? Any
So
motion?
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we recommend to the City Council and affirm the environmental assessment. Recommend that the City Council approve use permit UPR-06-21-015-101, subject to the condition of approval outlined herein. A motion?
So moved.
I second.
Roll call, please.
Pacheco,
Aye.
Proaño,
Aye.
Villanueva,
Aye.
Satori,
Yes. When is this going to the City Council?
it would go January 10.
Okay, so to Tesla and to Ms. Liu, you can just follow it up. So congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Second item will be public access, ingress, and egress, abandonment for easement 2171 Jutepero Serra Boulevard, APM 002-342-240. The property owner, Northeast Medical Services, or NEMS, has requested that the City of Daly City vacate the public access, ingress, and egress easement located at subject property. This will be discussed by Engineer Carmelisa Morales Lopez, Associate Planner. Take it away, Ms. Morales.
Thank you. Good evening, commissioners. So this should probably be a brief one. I'll pull up the, Mike, do you mind doing the share screen function?
Sure.
Thank you. I was just going to share the proposed easement abandonment map, just so you have some idea as to where the easement is right now.
It should be enabled.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so so this project is located at 2171 Junipero Serra Boulevard. Just for some background information, the property owner had a few administrative design review permits that were approved in 2019, 2020, and 2021, and it was all to sort of prepare the parking lot to create like a photovoltaic carport system, as well as a parking shelter, and then lastly some vehicle control gates. And they've had some issues with unauthorized vehicles parking, which does not allow enough parking for their employees. So the final step of their approval, which was a condition of approval of their last administrative design review permit, was to request an abandonment of the public access ingress and egress easement that's on their property. It's within the dashed area shown here. It covers the entire parking lot. And this was originally approved back in 2000 as part of an effort to provide ingress and egress to the public between Westlake Avenue and Citrus Avenue. However, if you've been to the site, you know it functions more as a private parking lot. There is no direct access to Westlake Avenue, and with the future development that's planned for the property northerly of the site, there will forever not be any possibility of providing any ingress or egress to Westlake Avenue from this property. And after review, staff did review the general plan, and we have determined that the general plan identifies commercial development for the site. So there's no indication or direction to have a public access easement on this property. So we are recommending that the Planning Commission find the easement vacation consistent with the Daly City General Plan. And with that, if it is recommended, it would go to the City Council as a communication item. And then the Public Works Engineering Division will process the abandonment pursuant to the approval. I'm available to answer any questions. Rolling up with the Engineering Division is also here tonight if you have any questions for us. Thank you.
Ms. Morales, do you have a bigger picture of this? Is this near Dugans?
No, so this is south of the Dugans property. So I can pull up a map if that's helpful. 1 second.
It's where Providence Central Credit Union is, right? Because I looked it up earlier.
Yeah, I believe there's a bank within the same building.
Right.
Oh, it's not near the vet by the hospital? I'm confused. Yeah, it is also there too. Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I'm sorry, it's behind, if you can look at the map, it's behind where the Providence Central Credit Union is, where the building is. And they've done a lot of work in the back and blocked off the back end of parking. Is that kind of where we're talking about? Because what you're looking at is facing Duggan's.
Yeah,
so you've got Duggan's building.
Yeah, so just to, I'll zoom out just a bit. So Duggan's is right, it's
Across
north of
street.
Westlake
Exactly.
Avenue. So you'll, so you'll have to travel down a bit to down Junipero Serra Boulevard. There's a driveway entrance into the parking lot along Citrus, and then also on Junipero Serra.
I got you. Citrus, yeah. Okay. Okay, I don't see any problem there. Are there any questions that you would like to address to my colleague, fellow commissioners?
No.
I'm sorry, can you clarify again what is being proposed at that time?
Computer.
The staff is proposing, or staff is recommending that the planning commission agree with the determination by staff, which is that the abandonment is consistent with the general plan. So it's just agreeing with the determination and finding it consistent.
And pardon me, through the chair, Carmelita. So what I read was it's saying the property owner is saying we don't need the city of Daly City to use this easement or to come in and out. Is that correct? Is that kind of what I read? And you're
it's sort of the opposite. Yeah. So just to clarify, so the city it's the city's easement. So currently we have access for public access to the site. I mean, they're basically requesting that we remove the easement so that they can block off access further to install the vehicle control gates. So when they install the vehicle control gates at the ends of the driveway, that would not allow it to be public no longer.
Who owns that property? Ms. Morales, who owns the property?
It's owned by the Northeast Medical Services.
So do you consider that as a public or a private property?
This is considered a private property. Yeah. So I mean, I guess the way we look at it is there was an intended purpose for the easement at that time back in 2000. It's aligned with the plan development that was approved there, but it wasn't developed as per the plan development.
Who did the development there recently? It was developed recently. I think they made it beautiful lately. Who made that? Is it the city or the NEMS?
the owners, right?
Are you referring to the development on the parking lot?
Yes. Recently it was who did that? The city?
That is the same applicant. Those are the previous design review applications, and those are administrative, so those went through staff only.
So the city did not develop it. It was the private developer.
That's correct. Yes.
And through the chair, if I recall going to the bank, it's already blocked off and they have a guard there. So where the gas station is, the Speedway, the gas station.
That's right.
And it's right across the street from the vet and the paint and all that. They're already not letting people in. So are they just waiting to put the arms up and say you can't come in unless you have a permit? Because there's a guard there already discouraging anybody to go in already.
I'd like to ask our lawyer here, Kelly, how does it go into that? Just for clarification, can they just make it as a republic of their own, or nobody can enter except them?
So my understanding is that this is a condition of approval of the project, and the city has made a determination that this public access easement is no longer valid and necessary. So the city attorney's office reviewed it, and we do recommend that we vacate this easement and the planning commission find it.
Whatever you say, whatever recommendation is the city attorney, we will abide by that.
Thank you.
Okay. So any more questions? Belva, do you have any question?
No, it's clear.
Okay.
Thank you.
How about Gary?
It's clear. Thank you.
Okay.
No questions.
Teresa, no more. So we are going to open this to anybody who wants to talk public? No. None? So there's none.
I don't see any raised hands, so I don't think there's anybody who's.
Any motion to close the public hearing?
I make a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we close the public hearing. Okay, any motion to approve this item? Any motion? It's been moved.
So moved.
Seconded.
Second.
Yes.
It's been moved and seconded that to find the what's this to approve this item number 2, which is the public access ingress and abandonment for easement located at 2171. Is this the one we're talking? 2171 it's a used to be the corner of. But anyway, just to read this, APN 002-342-240. The property owner, Northeast Medical Services (ENMS), has requested the City of Daly vacate the public access ingress easement located at the subject property. Motion to approve this. Roll call, please.
Pacheco,
Yes.
Proaño,
Yes.
Villanueva,
Yes.
Satori.
Yes, so this is carried. Thank you very much. And
Thank you.
okay, any more statement? Public appearances, sub communication. Anybody? Anything else? Well, to me, I would like to say thank you very much to Ms. Tatum Motherhead for being a TB conscious, for giving us the state of the city about the development here in Daly City during our luncheon meeting of the Daly City House Lions Club, and we appreciate this. Hopefully that all of us can participate in this kind of anymore, wherein what we are doing here in the city is really for the sake of the public. We might not agree on everything. There could be some public bickering, but at least we are moving forward. It's a small city, but it's great. Though we have some disagreement sometimes. With this, I would like to say thank you. And anybody else who would like to talk?
May I just wish everyone an amazing holiday season. There are 20 celebrations during the time of December for various religions. And so recognizing all the different religions that are celebrating this, our season here now during the month of December, I'd like to wish everyone a beautiful holiday season. As you know, many of us say Merry Christmas, but there's many other holidays. So to be inclusive, I'd like to wish everyone a beautiful holiday season.
And I echo that too. I echo that too. I also want to wish everyone a safe holiday season. Please, everyone, be with your families. Enjoy the good times that you have. Enjoy the food, of course, and enjoy the shopping. And I wish everyone a safe holiday. And I also look forward to a great 2002. Hopefully 2022 will be a lot better. Yeah, I hope so. This was rough year, so hopefully things get better next year. Yeah.
Thanks, Gary.
Belva?
Oh, happy holidays to everyone. Thank you.
Okay, and also to me, there's so many ways to thank the city, like happy Thanksgiving, belated, but still it's never too late if you say thank you to everybody and the gratitude for the good things. There might be some negative, but we can always overcome those. And to me, these coming holidays will be a time for reflection, a time to think over what is ahead of us. And hopefully, after this pandemic, we will move on for a clean air, for climate change and everything. Thank you very much and have a good day. A happy holiday to you.
Thank you.
And hopefully,
to you, to Kelly, Taito, Michael, and to Melissa, and to the rest of the staff, and to the Daly City Council also. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank
And
you.
one more thing.
At Maligayang Pasko. Thank you.
And one more thing. Hopefully, next year we'll be seeing each other, back into the chamber again, huh?
Yeah.
And see each other again face to face and in person. That would be great.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much, Michael and Taito.
Okay, thank you. Good night.
Bye,
Really
Michael.
happy.
Good
night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye-bye. Good night.